Hello there!
I guess what I learned most of all was that you should always take responsibility for your actions, unless you don't have to.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
Am I getting through to you? Over! Why are you dressed like that?
Well, okay, you know, you guys aren't privy to all the new shit, so, you know, but hey, that's what you pay me for.
That was really cool, by the way.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to. And you have to do it. Man's got to know his limitations.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Oh, we're about to get started. All right. I have to find one more clip that I have been looking for. Okay. Finding it. Possibly.
I'm joined now by Secretary.
Almost there. Hit that like, everybody. Share the show. We have jettisoned Rumble for the time being because I hate those people. Oh, hell yeah. I should get a shirt that says hell yeah on it. It's not a, I mean, come on. I mean, that's pretty good. If you're on Substack, restack me. If you're on Instagram, throw me an emoji that is, I guess, relatively untoward. You know what I'm saying? No eggplants, which of course will get me all eggplants. And we're about to get started. Let me get in here. Everything's all right. Whoop. Scroll down. All right. Instagram up. Substack's up. Facebook is up. YouTube's good. According to Mark Kremer, excellent. Twitch is up. Thumbnail. See us. Oh, look, we're flying. You would never guess, ladies and gentlemen, if you were joining us right now, you would never guess that by God, I did not. I was supposed to have a nap. I didn't have a nap. I don't know what it is. Like, well, I think it's sleep schedule. Quite frankly, like sometimes, for those of you that don't know, and by the way, welcome to Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm Hal Sparks. I'll be Hal Sparksing the rest of the night as you try to get the name Hal Sparks out of your brain. Don't try. It won't work. I know, because Hal Sparks told me to say that as Hal Sparks. That said, when I'm doing a stand-up, we always used to refer in the old days to Thursday and Friday as our donut days. And that's not because you get to have donuts. It's because you have work in the morning and work at the end of the day, but there's a big hole in the middle. And so you'd have to get up and do radio, and you've got to be awake and aware and funny and charming and interesting and just, you know, and do multiple radio shows. And then that night you've got to, at, I don't know, 8 o'clock, basically, from that point on till about midnight, you got to be on fire comedically, right? So that middle zone, is you're just it's either a collapse, you either take a nap or you try to zone out so you're not expending any extra willpower or wit or whatever you're trying to preserve during that time. It's just good in general. It's and so yeah, I'm pretty good at that. And then on Saturday, you don't normally have that. You just have the shows at night, so you don't have to get up and do radio. I've always had a radio show, so I still have that donut day. And then Sunday, maybe you have a show. So your schedule's all over the place. And for me, when you're doing stand-up, I got to sleep so that my noon for my workday is about 8 o'clock at night, if that makes sense. So you want to be firing on all cylinders and kind of at your brightest, like 11 to noon is how your sleep schedule put that in a normal day. Well, when you're a comedian or you're a musician, you gotta shuffle that down. You got to move that to later in the day. So you sleep late because your work day doesn't start till later, and it's very intense. This weekend, my work day was all over the place. And then I also worked out yesterday in the morning, which was a great dumb idea. It was both. It was an amazing dumb idea. What did I say? What did I say wrong? YouTube is up? It is? Creamer? Oh, I see. Yes. All right. As Prince once said, I stand corrected. So, and I get excused because I'm completely, but I was gonna shoehorn a nap in there. Not happening. Not at all. And tomorrow I have the jam, so I got to go to LA tomorrow. And so, yeah, depending on how like near unconscious I am, the smart move would be to leave tonight, get up early, do an earlier show tomorrow before sound check, do sound check, and then show tomorrow night. And but I want to drive back so I can be here Wednesday for guests because it's way easier to do the show. Although I have set up the LA system, so it worked last time. It could work again. You don't need to know this. This is my own problem. But the point is, I didn't have a nap. So I'm if I get loopy, it's don't blame the lack of sleep. Blame the news cycle because it's ridiculous. It was awesome having Cliff Schechter on the show this morning. Awesome having Tara Dublin, who does Deed Rock. And so today, there's something I've been wanting to watch that basically caused a large kerfuffle in Trump land. It caused a lot of backbiting and screaming, wailing and gnashing of teeth in the White House. And it was the interview on ABC of Howard Nutlick. And I was having trouble and this might be a sleep thing. I was having trouble finding the clip, and I realized I was searching for Nutlick. I was like typing in, and you don't want to. Luckily, I had safe search on and blur image, so I'm okay. But that's why I'm like, why is that not showing up on YouTube? Oh, because I'm. Anyway, so hi chat room, welcome to the show. How are you? Good to see you. Hello. Anyone else in here a big Titanic freak? Tonight is the anniversary. You're gonna watch the live real-time video later on Titanic and honor the fantastic. How you let kiss a dick? Yes. Can I just say that I can't get on a cruise ship without thinking that every cruise ship that's around right now is like whatever 6 times the size of the Titanic. It would be adorable parked next to these things. The one we did for the Monsters of Rock cruise was 17 stories high. It's nuts. I thought his name was Nutlick. It's his occupation. But here we go. Let's check this out. I want to see this. I'm sure you do too. Oh, come on. Why would you switch channels on me is the crazy thing. Hold on. Let me grab this. And features. And go to here. I want to keep this. Display capture. Go to that. The tertiary. Does that do it? Nope. That's me. This is it. There we go. Why would you reset? Why would you do that? It's always the same monitor. Why would you don't have to flick my switches. All right. Hello, Substack. Hello, Instagram. Enjoy. By the way, if you're watching on Substack and Instagram and I point like this, just pretend I'm pointing like this because it's very weird because I'm in the Instagram and Substack thing, it's vertical. So I'm technically under this video and I feel like I should be going, well, but Well, you just deal. You know what I'm talking about. When I go like that, just pretend. All right. Now, semiconductors from China will face a special focus type of tariff, says Nutlick. Here we go.
Commerce Howard Lutnick. Secretary Lutnick,
Whoops.
thank you for being with us this morning. I really appreciate your time. So let's start with that news.
It's my pleasure.
That would make one of you.
Let's start with that news late Friday. This
No, lose was the right word, Jonathan Carl. Right out of just Freudian slips right out of the gate. Excellent.
exemption on electronics, smartphones, laptop computers, and the like. What's the thinking? Why the exemption?
Oh, hold on. Wait. Jonathan, you're in a lot of trouble if you presume there is any thinking. You must establish that there was any thinking before you say what was the thinking, if indeed it did occur, which I would argue it did not. A panic ensued, and it was more fight or flight. You don't really think when you're cornered by a bunch of rabid wolverines. You know what I mean? You're just going on instinct.
Well, if you remember, over the past couple of months, President Trump has called out pharmaceuticals and semiconductors and autos. He called them sector tariffs. And those are not.
No, he did not. He did not. No. He did not call them sector tariffs. He's got too busy talking about beautiful, big, beautiful. And then the minute he talked about anything that we don't make in the country, he blamed everybody but himself, as if he wasn't a former president as well as a current president. Notice he didn't fix any of this shit, 5 years ago or 6 years ago or 7 years ago.
Available for negotiation.
By the way, hi, Twitch. Throw in all the emotes you want on this, because none of us need to see this dickhead's face.
They are just going to be part of making sure we reshore the core national security items that.
Yeah, you mean all the stuff Biden already did. Jesus Christ, man. They already started the funding on pharmaceutical reshoring. They already started the funding on chip reshoring. They already started the funding on fucking steel. Everything Trump is claiming right now is all shit that was set in motion last year. It's just when you pass a bill, it takes a while to get it up on its feet. And he's just taking advantage of that.
Need to be made in this country. We need to make medicine in this country.
Great. But if you need medicine right now, and we don't make that medicine in this country, tariffing the fuck out of it right now doesn't help people who are sick. So you need a gradual plan long-term to slowly, through carrot and stick, coax the manufacturing back to the United States, or at least within USMCA in Canada or Mexico, or a friendly trade partner, you tit.
Learned it during COVID. We need to make it in this country. We need to make semiconductors, because if we don't own semiconductors.
Yeah, we've all read the CHIPS Act, fuckhead.
Remember, virtually all semiconductors are made now in Taiwan, and they're finished in China.
No, they aren't. The big ones are made there. The very difficult, the 4 nanometer ones, and like 5 and lower. They're made at Taiwan, and they're made in South Korea, and they're made here, and they're made in Northern Europe. The rest of them, like the low end chips, are printed like fucking flapjacks wherever.
That we reshore them, and so the president is going to.
Yes, all the factories in Phoenix. This is going to annoy the fuck out of me, isn't it? It is. It just is.
Out with his policies on semiconductors and pharmaceuticals. They're going to be outside the reciprocal tariffs, and he was just making sure everyone understood that all of these products are outside the reciprocal tariffs, and they are going to have their own separate way of being considered.
But
right, because we can't make them, we need them, and without them, people die. So making them more expensive just to punish the companies into coming here. In the process, by the way, again, if you took your factory and you dismantled the motherfucker, wherever it is, and you brought it into the United States and you built one just like it, and you staffed it just like it is right now, just one for fucking one, it would cost you $6 billion in 5 years. It wouldn't be high. Thank you. He's bringing me coffee because clearly I need to be awake. Thank you. How was your workout? All right. Yeah. You messed up? Oh, no. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Right, right. Well, it's like this thing's getting better. Took a long time. You're going to actually take care of it instead of being a dude. You're going to be an asshole about it like I was. Yeah. Right. Just for a shorter period of time. Right. Yeah. My jerk window is longer than yours. That's clear. Love you. If I can rub anything later, you just let me know. Just saying. Excuse us. Shut up, Lutnick. Anyways, all right. He brought me a coffee because nothing will knock me out right now like caffeine. I swear. Yeah. All right. Here we go. By the way, again, if you built your factory here, it'd take you 5 years. You're better off just keeping it over there, paying the tariffs, having people bitch about the prices, never having to move it, and then counting on the next administration to either give you a better incentive to do it or never have to do it at all. Just dumb.
Wait a minute. I'm asking you about the exemption, not about. I mean, the notice that went out Friday night saying that electronics, a wide range of electronics, and
anything with a chip in it. Gee, thank God that doesn't cover like 80% of toys.
Smartphones, including components used to make microchips, that these are now exempt from the reciprocal tariffs. Why that move?
Well,
they're not just exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, I would remind you. They're zeroed out. They don't even seem to have the 10% tariff on them. I don't even know they bothered to write it in. They just went, oh, shit, scratch. And that was it. Like, Alibaba was selling everything at I showed you guys last week, like at a 10% or a 20% discount because they were checking on stuff that, that when it was originally a 10% or a 25% tariff when they were talking about it, they just basically undercut the price so they could sell it and maintain the price people would pay for it for the, until it blew up into the 170 umpteen, whatever the shit he was doing. But once he scratched those out, even the that 10% that they were taking off is gone. They're just selling them at normal price now.
those products are going to be part of the semiconductor sectoral tariffs, which.
Oh my fucking God. These are going to be in the coordinated, and we have a atmosphere wherein the semiconductors are all collected into a special zone. We're going to put the semiconductors in a zone. I feel like you're just making this up like before he came on the air.
So you're going to see this week there'll be a register in the Federal Registry. There'll be a notice put out. That is different types of work. So we're going to do that. We did that in autos. The president's going to do it for pharmaceuticals, and he's going to do it for semiconductors. So all those products are going to come under semiconductors.
Okay. Part of the reason they did it under autos is because they just went, what's an auto? Everything with 4 fucking wheels. And they were like, oh shit, that makes tractors and stuff. It's too broad. We got to narrow the definition because we accidentally made it everything. And the people at the ports of entry are like, all right, any auto, which includes anything, including trucks, cars, anything that could be extrapolated as a truck or a car, like all these, like check 1, check 2. Yes. Chip.
And they're going to have a special focus type of tariff to make sure that those products get reshored. We need to have semiconductors, we need to have chips, and we need to have flat panels. We need to have these things made in
flat panels? You mean television sets? So this is their solution. By the way, what he kind of means is monitor. We need monitors for these fucking things. And most monitor companies make TVs, and between LED and OLED, these are the 2 primary that you see, and whatever for consumer-based monitors. This asshole's like, oh fuck, we're not gonna have any computers in like 3 weeks if we keep this shit up. Good Lord.
We can't be reliant on Southeast Asia for all of the.
Yes, we can. We just can't rely on China. We don't. Japan didn't do anything to us. South Korea didn't do anything to us. Vietnam didn't do anything to us. The Philippines weren't fucking around. Cambodia hasn't hurt us in any way. Laos doesn't have it out for us, you fucking weirdo. It is singular to China. Can I? All right, hold on. Can I just... This is why we should have had TPP. Son of a bitch. Not that Trump wouldn't have thrown it out the fucking window as soon as he came in, but the whole point of TPP was to act as a wall against Chinese hegemony in manufacturing in Southeast Asia. That was the point. It was like a multilateral trade agreement with all the other countries in Asia that ain't China. The ones that were being stiff-armed by the Chinese economy because they don't have the population and they couldn't get on their feet fast enough because China would always undercut them before they got a chance to, or the countries we already have a relationship with that we trust that build the bigger and better stuff like South Korea, like Taiwan. That's what TPP would have been. And everybody was so, like, thumb up their ass about NAFTA that they were just burned on all trade agreements that it became a bad talking point. And it had been in place, we would not be in this situation now. We wouldn't. We would have already transitioned a lot of the phone manufacturing and shit like that out of China a long time ago. We would have dropped the need for Chinese slave cotton before they had even pushed into the Uyghur territories with the ferocity that they did. But everybody was like, fucking trade agreements. I know it's trade agreements. This is all just big business, and they're trying to fuck us and jobs and blah, blah, blah. The jobs that would have been lost to TPP would have been lost from China. And all the other countries that they would have gone to would have been reasonable size economies with a sane view of their position in the world. There's no point where, post World War II, Japan is going to go, all right, we're going to take over this joint. They don't have the military might. They have no reason to do it. They're not, driven by the racism of the Germans that they were going to split the earth between Asians and whites and all that shit. That's all dead now. That's gone. The South Koreans aren't going to finally go, aha, now we'll build up, we'll wipe out everybody else in TPP, and then we'll steal jobs from the United States. And China was singular in that attitude. But these motherfuckers think everybody looks alike. I wish it was about their concern about the Chinese hegemony and manufacturing spreading to a bunch of little countries and having the same problem, but you can't because, again, diversity makes it that they have to compete. It's not like China has basically a monopoly on large manufacturing in Southeast Asia, which TPP would have taken away. I know, not my business, not my business. Oh, married only a year and already this bastard has a girlfriend. I'm sorry.
Things that operate for us. So what he's doing is he's saying they're exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in probably.
Jesus Christ. They're not included with the tariffs right now, zeroed out. But they're going to be in the ones that are coming up that are specific to stuff based on whatever the fuck we decide later, we think, trust me, bro. Oh my God. Just please. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce Howard Lutnick.
Oh, hello there.
What the ever-loving shit.
A month or two. So these are coming soon. You shouldn't think.
A month or two? These are coming soon? No, they're fucking not. You're not going to get commitments for people to build a factory in 8 months or 10 months or just like, oh, fuck, we got to move everything over here. We're just going to pack our boxes up and ship everything out of the country. And then we'll find workers in the United States where we're almost at full like employment to fill these factories. Fuck it, we'll just automate them quickly with robots that can't do it yet, but whatever. And we'll just make the best chips in the world in Arizona with nobody in a couple of months. And then we'll click the tariffs on. What do we have? Was that a correct answer? No, Howard, that was, you're wrong again. No rice-a-roni for you.
This is really outside of it. Really think of it as being included in the semiconductor space.
Fuck. They're not excluded from the tariffs we're putting on now. They're included in the tariffs we haven't put on. Fuck me. It's so stupid.
Much like pharmaceuticals, these require special.
No, not much like pharmaceuticals. No, not much, because you don't need a fucking lithograph that could uses multiple lasers near quantum level technology to imprint something. It's a chemical process. You fucking press them into a thing. You can move pharmaceuticals here faster than you can move semiconductors, and we need the semiconductors sooner. We can get pharmaceuticals from other places. And there's another thing. Fuck me. Okay, chat room. So follow me on this. Right now, we get, and everybody will talk about this, the maggots always talk about, we get 90% of our antibiotics from China or something at one point. This was around COVID. This was the talking point. 90% of our antibiotics from there. Well, obviously, then we get the other 10% from somewhere else. We either make them ourselves or we get them from fucking Canada or Europe, right? So why don't we get them all from there? Because they're cheaper. Oh. Okay. So we get 90% of them from there because they're cheaper. We don't make them here. Not enough anyways. But if we put a giant tariff on those pharmaceuticals coming out of China, the price of Chinese pharmaceuticals will go up or be equal, which is what you're supposed to use tariffs for most of the time. But we still don't have enough that we make here. Where are we going to get them? Europe and Canada. Why in the ever-loving shit would we tariff our trade partners if we need as much production as they can stand? They're going to have to ramp up production to meet our demand to replace China's at a price point that's close. And that means if you tariff them over them at all, you're going to raise the price on top of the R&D that they have to do to expand their factories and do all that kind of stuff. We get most of our aspirin, our like acetaminophen, our ibuprofen from China and India because it's cheap, not because we lack the capability of making it. That's why there are like 8 different kinds of acetaminophen and 10 different kinds of ibuprofen and mixes of the two in every CVS and Walgreens on every fucking third block of every city in the entire fucking country. To sell you a bottle that, unless you're acutely ill, will last you half a year.
And the president is on it.
So
okay, by the way, look at this man's face. I'm sorry you have to, but this is not the face of somebody who thinks the president is, quote, on it. This motherfucker, as it turns out, isn't even on it himself, unless it's crack. He doesn't feel like the president's on it, and he doesn't know quite what the president wants, and he's basically out here spinning like plates with bullshit on them. That's why he's got that look on his face.
Saying that the big tariffs on things like smartphones and laptops, iPhones, all those iPhones built in China, that those tariffs are temporarily off, but they're going to be coming right back on in another form in a month or so? Or what are you saying?
Correct. That's
And that was the line that fucked the market, by the way.
That's right. Semiconductors and pharmaceuticals will have a tariff model in order to encourage them to reshore, to be built in America. We need our medicines and we need semiconductors and our electronics to be built in America. We can't be beholden and rely upon foreign countries for fundamental things that we need. We can't be relying on China for fundamental things that we need.
Right. But we could rely on Europe or our other partners in the world or fucking Canada or even Mexico, for fuck's sake. But you wanted to kick shit in everybody's eye all at once.
And our semiconductors need to be built in America. Donald Trump is on it. He's calling.
Nope. He said it a second time. That is definitely a sign that he does not believe that Trump is on it. By the way, he's so not on it that Trump was still recovering from his ass poking on Friday.
So you should understand these are included in the semiconductor tariffs that are coming and the pharmaceuticals are coming. Those two areas are coming in the next month or two. So this is not
month or two. How are you supposed to plan for that? What are you supposed to do? I mean, you just punted the other ones. What if it takes a giant shit and he's got to punt these too? And they're like, why would we invest in or change our business model if he's just going to punt it? I mean, look at the fucking TikTok trade. The fact that he still allows TikTok to operate in the United States against both Congress and the Supreme Court, there's not going to be a sale of fucking TikTok.
A permanent sort of exemption. He's just clarifying that these are not available to be negotiated away by countries. These are things that are national security that we need to be made in America.
Well, here's a good idea. If we need them to be made, carrot will do that better than stick. That's what the CHIPS Act did. It gave funding and it gave loan guarantees for companies to do that in the United States. Seriously, can't stop laughing. You think I know that? Of course I know that. I know that. That's exactly who he is. He's Nathan Firm, whatever, from Martin Short's character. I know that. Of course they're going to be on there. I mean, they're not going to be on there. They're not now, but there are going to be. At some point, they'll be on there. I know that.
The president's made it clear he wants negotiations with China. Have you had any conversations with your Chinese counterpart?
By the way, Jonathan Karl looks both confused and disgusted. Welcome to We're All Jonathan Karl.
Been anything between you and the Chinese?
I think we've had soft, the way I would say it is soft entrees, through.
Ugh. Shut up. Soft entrees? What do you mean? Like steamed dumplings instead of fucking fried? I do prefer them crispy sometimes, although xiaolongbao and, like soup, in general, I like steamed dumplings better. They don't have to be crispy. Occasionally pot stickers can be, never mind.
Intermediate.
I haven't eaten either. No sleep, no food. Ugh.
And those kind of comments, but we all expect that the President of the United States and President Xi of China will work this out.
No, we don't. No. And don't say we all. Maybe say we in the administration, because the rest of us there's no fucking way you're going to work this out. Are you nuts? No, you're not going to work this out. It's a trade war. They don't give a fuck. He's gone all in. The Chinese leadership is too easily shamed. They get embarrassed easily. And if they're not treated with kid gloves, it's just a fucking war right now. He's not coming over there. There's not going to be a fucking Kim Jong-un reach around.
I'm completely confident, as is he, that this will be worked out in a
Ugh. Yeah, because the president is on it.
thoughtful, and effective way for the United States of America. I mean, Donald Trump has the ball. I want him to have it. He's the right person with it. He knows how to play this game. He knows how to deal with President Xi.
So what you're saying is, I don't know what the fuck he's got the ball. I'm just, hey man, I'm just over here blocking my guy. I don't know what the fuck is happening. I wasn't there when they discussed this play.
This is the right person for the right role, and I am confident this is going to work out with China. Yes, is it in a tough spot now? Of course it is, but that'll you'll see. Though all of that energy,
you'll see pretty soon, in the very near future, in the not too distant future, sort of, and stuff like right after his healthcare plan comes out,
sort of decline, and we'll end up in a perfectly reasonable place with China.
It'll what? Hold on. It'll sort of what?
Yes, is it in a tough spot now? Of course it is, but that'll you'll see. Though all of that energy will sort of decline, and we'll end up in a perfectly reasonable place with China. I'm confident.
No, that energy will decline. What you think that the Chinese anger towards this, or the like his entrenchment, will just run out of fucking steam?
But can I ask you, the president's called President Xi a friend. He said the Chinese are proud people. Can you explain to me what the vice
No, he can't.
president was saying not long ago?
Oh, this is the peasant remark.
When he referred to the Chinese people as peasants. Let me.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
The sound so you can hear it.
We borrow money from Chinese peasants to buy the things those Chinese peasants manufacture. That is not a recipe for economic prosperity. It's not a recipe for low prices, and it's not a recipe for good jobs in the United States of America.
Wow, that's sounds even more racist when you hear it than when you read it. Like you just, yeah. I'm surprised he, now I know why he wasn't made Secretary of State. He was given a, kind of a neutered job like the vice presidency.
President go off message there? I mean, he's calling the Chinese peasants. This is something that we heard the
proud peasants, though. Yeah, Jonathan, you can be a proud peasant.
Chinese say was ignorant and disrespectful. I mean, I haven't heard Donald Trump talk that way about the Chinese.
No, I'm just going to step back and really just leave the vice president to let him defend himself. He knows what he meant, and we all know what he meant, which is...
Well, if you know what he meant, then you're going to defend him right now.
That, the Chinese have basically attacked America and ripped us off by undercutting our businesses, by...
Yeah, that's not... I think that's what he said. I think he called them peasants, and the idea that they're a country of peasants that borrow money, using the fact that they work cheap as leverage.
Government of China assists their businesses to undercut our businesses, drive them out of business, and take that manufacturing over to China. It's happened in pharmaceuticals. It's happened in so many industries. We feel it, steel and aluminum, so many. So the idea is, if the government of China is behind their businesses, imagine if the government of America...
Oh, you mean like if they, quote, picked winners and losers, and if they, like, during, I don't know, I'm spitballing here. Follow me on this nut. Like, what if there was an electric car company, and 2008 we had a massive crash, and the incoming president, a Democrat, didn't want to see the big three fail, even though Donald Trump was fine with that happening. And so he worked with Congress to create a bailout package to protect them from a damaged economy they had nothing to do with damaging, for the record. And in an attempt to deal with environmental issues that were, long important to Democrats, he put in support for electric car manufacturers. And that those electric car manufacturers, specifically one or two, that were really helped by it, wouldn't even exist today if it hadn't been for that specific infusion of money. They would have failed a long time ago. They would have made niche cars and then vanished. Like that? Like if they had the government behind them like that?
States of America was backing your business. I mean, you'd be a killer in the world. So
You mean like if you never had to pay taxes or something? Like you never ever had to pay, like if you paid $795 in taxes on millions and billions of dollars that that changed hands? You'd be a killer, as it were. I mean, obviously you don't mean like, I don't know, a helicopter flying back from Atlantic City towards New Jersey, failing and your business partners are in it.
what the Chinese have been doing. And finally, Donald Trump is standing up to it saying, look, in order to make it fair for American businesses, we have to put a tariff on China to level the playing field, to take their government out of being a competitor. We need to have medicines built in America. We need to.
Yes, we need to build our medicines. We need carpenters who can make insulin. We need plumbers who can make suppositories, obviously.
Those products here in America because we need them. We can't have a war and be asking China to send over penicillin. It's not real.
They don't. We wouldn't have to ask them. We would just buy it from Europe or India. We get penicillin from China because it's cheap, not because it's the only fucking source in the world.
Well, we can't rely on other countries for semiconductors. We can't rely on other countries for steel and aluminum. These are national security issues, and Donald Trump is going to make sure they're reassured. We have the capacity to do it. If you've seen, an auto plant these days, these are beautiful plants.
Yeah. You know what makes them beautiful? They're completely devoid of people.
These new modern plants are amazing, and the jobs they create for our American workers are amazing jobs, and that's what Donald Trump is.
Yeah, both of them.
On bringing those jobs and those factories back to America and employing American workers. He's on it, and he's going to bring them back.
He said on it a third time. All right, that's the kiss of death. Motherfucker. George says on Substack says, matter of fact, there were clips of Elon being questioned about accepting government money given his libertarian views back in 2009. Exactly. Patreons assemble. Curious question for anyone. When does afternoon end and evening begin? Thanks, Brian. When does afternoon end and evening begins? At dusk. Dusk is the soft transition period between the two. So, and I have to say, I think it was working out, but I think I look pretty good for somebody who hasn't slept hardly at all. Just saying. Also, wait, I need to show you something. Yeah. This is what Substack, like my Substack freezes. And it, on an image, because it doesn't play live video back to me, so it doesn't use bandwidth. So this was the image I was getting. Like I'm trying to bat Howard Lutnick away. This is good stuff. Yeah. We're the peasants now, yeah. Well, yeah. Go dusk yourself. Oh, thanks, Alexa. Nah, that's not true. I always look good, but I don't look great when I'm that wiped out. Yes, the Hellfire stance. Yes. Yes, I'm standing, and that's all you really need. Okay, so let's finish this guy out. God damn. And again, look at his fucking face. I'm telling you, they know they've shit the bed. They know. They fucking know. They are so happy that Hegseth hasn't been questioned by Congress yet about Signalgate, and that Stephen Miller's stirring up all this racist bullshit about the deportees, that they figure this is a battle they can win on messaging to draw attention away from this shit while they go, were we ever talking about tariffs? I don't even fucking know. Does anybody remember that tariff shit? I don't know. Remember that? That's been a fit, man. I don't know. By the way, can I just say I had my hair back like this in Mad Mardigan which is what I'm going to call it from now on, in honor of Val Kilmer, the chat room. This is what when you tie your hair back and you got a ponytail back here. This is the Mad Mardigan. But anyways, I had my hair like this, and we came out of like Vegas, like the strip in Nashville where we played John Bon Jovi's place last night. That's where we did the comedy show, which was hilarious. And I have video from it. I'll show you at some point. But the club is just full of pictures of him, and it's great. It's like he consulted my decorator, and he, we walk out of the bar though, and there's like a bar downstairs. By the way, I would love to fucking play this place with my own band, not with Nerd Halen, but like my own band, because the stage that they have in the front to save space is like multi-tiered. So the drummer's here, the bass player's here, the guitar player's here, and the singer's out front in this thing, so that they don't have to have a giant big stage like this. It's taller. It looks really cool. It looks like a level in fucking Rock Band. It's genius. But we walked out of there onto the street, just fucking drunks everywhere. It's amazing. Like, I don't know what the hell. Like downtown Nashville is insane. Just bar hopping. It reminds me of like the row of bars in Pittsburgh on a Friday night, but like every night. Yeah, for 0-1 to play. But oh shit. So I walk out of there and I'm just waiting because Craig Gass is going to give me a ride back to my hotel, because I rode there with him, and then he vanished because apparently I don't know, he had something to do, and then I found him again. Courtney was going to drive me, so I'm waiting for her to come out, and then he shows up, and I'm just standing on the sidewalk with my backpack, getting ready to go back after the show, and two girls walk up, and they're just like, "You have a mullet? I have a mullet. I have a mullet. I have a mullet. I want to get a picture. Give me a picture. Sarah, give me a picture of mullet. We got mullet." I'm like, "I don't have a mullet. What are you doing? This is a Mad Mardigan, baby. This isn't cut this way. I'm not, Billy Ray Cyrus." And she's like, "Yeah, that's not a mullet." I'm like, "I told you it's not a mullet." She's like, "I feel cheated." I'm like, "You're drunk. Please leave." And then she walks away, and she's got the top of her hair pulled back on the top. I'm like, "You don't have a mullet either, dummy." It's like I had a mullet bat on the streets of Nashville last night, and I'm proud of it. Okay, back to the ridiculousness.
Also said there's going to be a transition cost, transition problems. I mean, we are going to see higher prices in America as well. It's not like you can open a factory tomorrow to build iPhones or to make sneakers, shoes. I mean, we buy a lot of shoes in this country. 99% of them are made elsewhere. I mean, are we going to become a...
And 100% of LeBron's shoes that he sells are made in China. It's interesting how he just shits on Taiwan and without blinking. Weird. Air Jordans for life.
Cobblers again? I mean, this is going to mean higher prices, isn't it?
I mean, have you seen, I don't necessarily think so.
I don't necessarily think so.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah.
Idea is that we can
The idea. No, man. We're not at the idea stage. We're at implementation, you dumb motherfucker.
manufacture here in America. As I said, I saw Panasonic, the battery company, right? Japanese company.
Yeah, that's why when I think of Panasonic, I think of batteries.
An amazing factory in Kansas, which they're opening now. They put it in the ground when Donald Trump was the president. It's just finishing now. 4,000 new jobs built from what they made deals with the community colleges nearby and all the local community and the local university. They trained people for this. 4,000 high-tech jobs in Kansas. That is what's coming back to America.
Awesome. You know what? I'm inspired. Nutlick. Let's check that out. Let's see. Panasonic battery factory, Kansas. I bet it's just like regular D batteries, you know, for your 9 volts and that kind of stuff, and has nothing to do with this bullshit Green New Deal crap that, you know, they put, oh shit, what do you know? It's a fucking EV car battery site. It's electric car batteries. You know that electric car mandate that didn't exist, that you got rid of, that basically all the funding for this thing came from? Backed by Panasonic Connect's 20 plus years of manufacturing execution system expertise, MES. Syncora DMP is an adaptable, data-driven digital manufacturing solution designed to address the unique challenges of EV electric vehicle battery production. You know those things Trump shit on all during the fucking campaign? Panasonic Connect, that's what they call it. There we go. This is the smart factories. Okay, there we go. This is what they're making. There we go. And let's see, $4 billion located in DeSoto, Kansas. Sorry. Also, I'm gonna let's listen to what he said again, real quick.
Going to see what they made deals with the community colleges nearby.
Hold on.
They put it in the ground when the idea is that we can manufacture here in America. As I said, I saw Panasonic, you know, the battery company.
Oh, yeah.
Japanese company. They built an amazing factory in Kansas,
an amazing factory in Kansas. Battery factory, Kansas. Amazing. And when?
Now they put it in the ground.
They put it in the, you mean they broke ground?
When Donald Trump was the president, it's just.
When Donald Trump was the president.
Now, 4,000 new jobs built.
What do you think, guys? What do you think the fucking chances are that, first of all, EV battery factory in Kansas to be powered by coal, at least temporarily, October 4th, 2023. Key takeaways. A new Panasonic EV battery plant in Kansas is forcing a utility to keep a coal plant scheduled for closure open. The battery plant will consume enormous amounts of power and must have reliable and affordable electricity. The $4 billion plant is slated to receive $6.8 billion from Biden's climate bill, the Inflation Reduction Act. A new electric vehicle battery factory, 2023, in Kansas needs so much energy that the state is delaying the retirement of a coal plant to make sure the facility has enough power. The $4 billion Panasonic electric vehicle factory is located in DeSoto, Kansas. Panasonic broke ground on the facility last year, 2022. 2022. It didn't start when fucking Trump was president, and it's not just making batteries. It's making electric vehicle batteries, and it was paid for by the Infrastructure Act and the rescue package. Part of the Green New Scam. This motherfucker is crediting the Green New Scam as a win. Son of a bitch. Like, yeah, seriously, CSL. Like, as soon as he fucking said that, I was like,
Man, I'm tired of being right.
like, this, what? No, there were no battery facilities that he knows of, that I know of, that's showing up anywhere, that broke ground while Trump was fucking president to make EV batteries. Good God. What an asshole.
What they made deals with the community colleges nearby and all the local community and the
Yeah, we know. It was paid for by Joe fucking Biden, you weirdo.
University. They trained people for this. 4,000 high-tech jobs in Kansas. That
yeah. Thanks, AOC. What are you talking about?
is what's coming back to America. You're going to see that production, that kind of high-tech factory is going to produce things here at very reasonable prices. So I think this is going to work.
A 15-pound lithium-ion battery holds about the same amount of energy as a pound of oil. To produce that battery requires 7,000 pounds of rock and dirt to obtain the minerals that are needed for the manufacture. The average EV battery weighs about 1,000 pounds. That's the array of them, not just a single. The mining and factory processing needed to produce an electric vehicle results in a lot more carbon dioxide emissions than gas-powered car. Yeah, but over its life, it mitigates it out. It's just dumb. So electric vehicles have been driven around, have to be driven around 50,000 to 60,000 miles before there is a net reduction in carbon dioxide emissions. And since most cars last 100,000 to 150,000 miles, you get 100,000 miles. Right. The federal government requires batteries to be warranted for at least 8 years or 100,000 miles. Right. The Biden administration thought about this shit. After that, if the batteries need replacing, more energy demand, blah, blah, blah. Besides the energy, and this is, by the way, this is from the Institute for Energy Research, which is one of these like right-wing think tanks. And even they're admitting this was built in 23, broke ground in 22. Hold on one second. I'll show you another one. DeSoto, Kansas. In spring 2025, because, man, right after he fucking got elected, Panasonic Energy North America will open a 300-acre manufacturing facility in DeSoto in Astra Enterprise Park. Yeah, here you go. When did they break ground? What did we say? When they put it in the ground? When did they put it in the fucking ground? You absolute dickhead. Panasonic Energy breaks ground on EV battery factory in Kansas in 2022. Thanks, Joe Biden. Like, this is fucking embarrassing. Like, how do you... Jonathan Carl, please, where's your producer? Why can I not be in your ear right now? I mean, maybe he brings it up. Maybe in the last couple of minutes he goes, hang on a second. That thing didn't open in 2017, you dumb motherfucker.
Plus, our farmers are going to finally have access to the world's markets. You know,
Really? That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna our farmers will finally have access. Like we're what? North fucking Korea? Dumbass. Like we're fucking Ukraine trying to produce grain while Russia's bombing the shit out of us. Guess what, dickhead? We could sell it to the world markets. Holy shit. One of the big markets is, let's see. Oh, go ahead. Get out. Finally, Xi Jinping receives flowers from a young girl in Iowa during a 2012 trip to the state. Rick Kimberly doesn't. I'm Edward Kimberly, the bastard son of Elma. All right. Still doesn't know quite how the future leader of China ended up visiting his farm outside Des Moines. In 2012, Xi Jinping was vice president and on tour of the U.S. when he showed a particular interest in the agricultural areas. An advance party made its way to Mr. Kimberly's farm in Iowa, which grows corn and soybeans. Officials told him that no one, not even Mr. Xi, should climb on the machinery. I suppose they were worried about someone might slip and fall, but the officials underestimated the hands-on enthusiasm of the most important member of their delegation. I saw Mr. Xi look at that John Deere tractor, and I asked him if he wanted to climb on. Of course he did. We were speaking through a translator, but he didn't even wait for the translation. He understood me right away and went right to the tractor. The health and safety fears turned out to be unfounded. Xi was both delighted and uninjured in his ride on the farm equipment. It proved to be another chapter in Chinese president's curious ties to the largely rural Midwestern state. Xi first traveled to Iowa in 1985 as part of an agricultural delegation from China's Hebei province. He stayed in Muscatine, a town of about 24,000 people circled by farmland and the Mississippi River. The People's Daily, the Chinese Communist Party's official newspaper, noted that the delegation visited elderly people in the local community, attended a birthday party, and had 6 interviews with local media outlets and attended 5 welcome banquets held by the U.S. side. I thought he was a very nice, focused, polite man. Eleanor Dvorak, who hosted Mr. Xi at her home, said during his stay. Fucking Xi Jinping stayed at a lady's house in Iowa in fucking 1985 when he was like the regional governor of Hebei. Finally, you dumb motherfucker. Now I know why there's such a firestorm in the White House. Like, the fuck is he talking about?
Have never had the opportunity to sell corn in India. So what's going to happen is as they...
Oh my God, how much corn do Indians eat? I'm not kidding. Like, dude, you've been eating too much fusion Indian food.
More and more products, prices will come down.
I mean, Mr.
More
Secretary,
volume gets lower prices. You're going
to... Hey, asshole, by the way, we don't need to produce more corn. We produce too much fucking corn. We produce so much corn, we had to make high fructose corn syrup to make it a viable product because corn grows pretty easily compared to a lot of other crops. Beats shit out of tomatoes, easier than fucking watermelons. It's certainly, more resilient than fruit trees most of the time, and doesn't end up being suffering like wheat blight and all that shit. And it sucks sugar out of the fucking ground.
Lower prices in America on lots of different products.
Mr. Secretary, I mean, right now we're seeing them effectively being locked out of a very large market, especially people like soybean farmers in China. But let me ask you about the constitutionality of these tariffs. As you know, the Constitution right there in Article 1, Section 8 makes it very clear that Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. Congress has the power to impose tariffs, not the president. And the president has cited this 1977 emergency law that doesn't mention tariffs. This is a law about sanctions, about seizing foreign assets. So how concerned are you, and are you prepared to defend this in court? As you know, there's already at least one court challenge to the constitutionality of these tariffs.
The president knows the law. The
president barely can operate a golf cart. He does not know the law.
General counsels know the law.
Yeah, and they're telling him it's a loophole and it's temporary. And if you don't do all this all at once and it doesn't work immediately, you're going to end up in court by the end of the summer. You're going to lose, and then you'll never get it back.
Understand this, that Congress has passed laws that gave the president the ability to protect our national security.
In an emergency. We're not in an emergency, dummy. Everything isn't a fucking emergency. And this is, okay, this comes from, and this is, again, the importance of the word emergency, kids. A crisis is not an emergency, because a crisis is gradual and a multifaceted, difficult situation that you're in, and it builds over time, and it also ebbs over time with whatever solution you have. There's no immediate solution to a crisis. There could be like ceasefires and those kind of things, but there still have to be things worked out. You can pause things, but a crisis is a broader thing. An emergency is immediate. It emerges. That's where the fucking word comes from. It comes out of nowhere and hits you. And, emergency surgery isn't your knee's fucked up and you're going to have to get it looked at, or you're going to have trouble down the road. It's legally not an emergency. It can be a crisis. It can be difficult. It could even be, you could call it a disaster, but it's not an emergency. It didn't just happen overnight. Emergencies have to emerge quickly to qualify. China's a crisis. Yes, I agree. Manufacturing, lost jobs, whatever, is a crisis. AI and what it will do to, to employment and, idle hands is a crisis to some degree. You've got to pay attention to it. We are heading into a crisis if we don't manage it somehow. These fuckers have no idea how to handle it. None. Or interest. But what it isn't is an emergency.
We need to make medicine in America. If you don't...
Right. It's a great idea. For safety's sake, long term. But we don't need to make it right fucking now because shots are fired. And in the only, oh, fuck, you know, if you think about it this way, the only way it can qualify as an emergency for real is if these motherfuckers are planning a war. It's an emergency because we can't do it right now, and we're planning to go to war with Iran in a month. That would be the only way they could define it as a fucking emergency.
Think that's national security. You're not thinking it through. We need to make semiconductors in America. We need steel and aluminum.
Right. But we don't need to do it in the next 6 weeks. We don't need to do it in the near future, a month from now, unless you motherfuckers are planning a war. A war, by the way, that will isolate us from the entire world, except Russia and Iran, I guess.
America. We need to manufacture in America. If we just run gigantic trade deficits and sell our soul to the rest of the world, eventually we are going to be the work.
Is there a soul trade going on? Soul trade. We aren't selling our souls, dum-dum.
For the rest of the world. We're going to be the thinker for the rest of the world, but they're going to manufacture.
You do realize that the manufacturer, like the workers, oftentimes are not the ones that get rich. It's the thinkers. It's the inventors, the developers, you know, and if you're kind of extrapolating that over 8 billion people, the idea that there might be 320 million people who are in the thinking position as opposed to the manufacturing position might actually be a worthwhile goal. Because I will say one thing about the alleged upper 1 or the upper 10%, they have a lot more leisure time than I do.
Someday they say, gee, we're not sending it to you. We'll be nothing. So I think the president
will be nothing. Why? Because we won't have any European friends that'll go, hey, do you have any ibuprofen? Yeah, I've got like half a bottle. Does that get you through so you can make your own? Yeah, that'd be great. Okay. I'm gonna take 2 though, because I was laying one on last night. You wouldn't believe it.
has national security in mind, and he's here to protect America.
Let me guess, he's on it.
We need to reshore these things, and we all know it. It is vital for us to reshore it, and we know it.
Mr. Secretary, we're really out of time, but a very quick question. How concerned are you about what's happening to the U.S. dollar? We have seen the dollar at having its worst week in 3 years. There are concerns about a weakening dollar because of all this uncertainty.
He wants the dollar weak, so the Fed has to lower interest rates.
How concerned are you about that?
I am not concerned about it.
He's concerned.
We are focused on our tariff policy.
Yeah, so I'm ignoring the dollar right now.
Focused. We have so many countries coming in to negotiate with us.
Name one. We have so many. 1 or 2, right? You could just name 1 or 2. Yeah? I'm just curious. What is it? Chad? The fuck McDonald's Islands, the Penguins have decided to, Jesus.
And has given us the ability, let's go get these great deals done. And we're on it, and the president's on it.
Yeah, he's on it. We're on it. Everybody's on it. What is it? It's an IED, actually. It's basically we've turned our economy into an improvised explosive device.
And we're really, really focused on delivering the best thing for the American people.
So you're resigning.
Right, Secretary Howard Lutnick, thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate your time. I'm joined now by Secretary.
Wait, that did not go well. Like at the end of this like final.
It's on and has given us the ability, let's go get these great deals done. And we're on it, and the president's on it, and we're really, really focused on delivering the best thing for the American people.
All right, Secretary.
That is not the face of someone who thinks they stuck the landing. This dude ate shit pie with shit sauce, and no nuts. for 17 minutes straight. They have no idea. None. It's really clear. And Lutnick was the bullhorn. Lutnick was the guy coming out there. He's the Stephen Miller of this bullshit. He's the one, like, Bessent's like, well, we'll try some stuff. And if we don't try some stuff, we can try some stuff. And like, Lutnick was like, it's fucking shiny balls for everyone. We're just going to bring it out here. And his fucking giant capped teeth. And like, it's a great thing. It's a great day. Everything couldn't be greater, and it's great, and it's just all great. And then he comes on here, maybe, there's a, I don't know, but what the fuck is wrong with you? Google. Hold on, I should probably, I don't know. Like, when that's all you can manage as a smile, because you'll recall a week ago, this motherfucker was all grins everywhere. And this is all he can squeeze out this week. Now you know why I'm not really afraid of these fuckwads. P.S. Oh, by the way, hi, chat room. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc.
So
this is when it, hold on. No, thanks. Yeah. So Bloomberg interviewed Bessent on global trade in he's in Buenos Aires, Argentina. I think. Is he down there now? Yeah. Treasury Secretary Bessent talks about deals, China's relationship. Yeah, he speaks to Bloomberg's Anne-Marie Hordem exclusively in Buenos Aires, and yet he still manages to look like a fucking corpse. This is Bessent. This is the other side of it. So Nutlick is supposed to be the brash bulldog. He's excited. He's like pushing for it. This is going to be fucking wicked. He just grabs the reporter's talking points and just, and Bessent's the, kind of laying back, trying to be the gentleman scholar.
Here at a time when the IMF has just announced this $20 billion agreement with Argentina, but we haven't seen a Treasury Secretary come to Argentina since Trump's first administration, and that was for a G20. So why the emphasis from the Trump administration on Argentina?
I know. I think I know. Ask me, lady. Come on. Please. Hold on. I'll tell you. Hold on. I think I have an idea. Give me a second. I'll look it up. Hold on. I'm fairly certain I know why. Maybe it has something to do with this. I think this is probably why everybody in the Trump administration looks at Argentina and goes, "What's not to like?" Like, I think half the people in there are like, my grandfather used to vacation there. That'd be many Nazi war criminals and sympathizers also emigrated to Argentina after World War II to escape prosecution, including Joseph Mengele, the SS doctor who performed experiments on prisoners at Auschwitz and Birkenau, and Adolf Eichmann, one of the organizing minds behind the Holocaust. I mean, that explains the "Make Argentina Great Again" thing, don't you think? Hold on, I got to move my chat over. What? I mean,
and Marie, a couple of reasons.
Oh, this motherfucker and his name drops. That's Bessent's trick. Everybody should know it. Everybody in the press. Bessent condescendingly says your name, especially if you're a female, to you as a way of bonding with you. And this is leftover from Wall Street shit. And makes this a personal conversation.
The reason for being here today is today's a fulcrum day. So the Malay administration has done three.
The melee? What is it? Everybody just bring bats and knives? What is it? Like the fight scene in Anchorman? The melee. All right, sure. Or melee, sure.
And this marks the beginning of the third one. So they did a large fiscal adjustment, a large monetary adjustment, and they're doing they announced on Friday a large currency adjustment.
Right, because they need a giant fucking bailout. And everybody's like, oh no, the White Lotus of Nazism is having a hard time. Where will I ever vacation?
IMF has allocated $20 billion to them. The World Bank has allocated $12 billion, and I wanted to come here today to show support for President Malay and his commitment to what I think is historic in terms of bringing Argentina back from the precipice.
When it comes to the trade negotiations, I'm sure you spoke with President Milei about the 10% rate that Argentina was hit with. Do you think at some point that can come down to zero?
Look, I think we're going to start the negotiations, and just like with everyone else, I'm telling them, bring your A game, we'll see what you got, and we'll go from there.
Can any country go to zero?
We'll see. I don't know what's going to happen with the negotiations, because we've got a whole box of things we've got to overcome: tariff, non-tariff trade barriers, currency manipulation, and subsidization.
We've got a whole box of things? A box of things.
Of labor and facilities. So there's a big menu there.
There's been an early focus on Latin America writ large from the Trump administration in the first 100 days. Is Latin America policy also, in a sense, China policy for this administration?
Well, I think that might be a good description, because what we are trying to keep from happening is what has happened.
Can I just say, beyond all this, like, stammering bullshit that we're getting from Bessent, the hope of the administration was that Bessent would start sounding like Lutnick because he would get more forceful about stuff. The opposite has happened. Lutnick is starting to sound like Bessent. Did you notice that in the last video? It's stunning. Like Lutnick is picking up his stammer and confusion.
On the African continent, where China has signed
and his evasiveness and his lack of understanding of what Trump ultimately is going to do or wants to do or even thinks about.
Number of these kind of rapacious deals marked as aid, where they are really, they've taken mineral rights, they've added huge amounts of debt onto these countries' balance sheets. It's undisclosed to any of the other international organizations. They've got tolling arrangements. So they're guaranteeing that future generations are going to be poor and without resources. And we don't want that to happen any more than it already has in Latin America.
China.
So interventionism in South America, financially by the U.S. So all those funds we cut off, USAID, all the State Department funds that they cut, that Doge has been chopping at. Basically what he's saying is we need to jumpstart that shit and make sure that we're in these countries. He's basically coming back to all these countries with quiet checks. They moved USAID under the State Department, and they're having Bessent fucking bring in checks like it's like people have won a telethon raffle.
As a foreign exchange swap with Argentina.
He's a greasy Mnuchin. What? Oh, greasy. Where's greasy Mnuchin? I see. This guy's powdered Mnuchin. Yeah. Just add gin and tonic.
Would you consider a credit line directly from the United States?
That's not under consideration in terms of, so they have an $18 billion credit swap in RMB. Argentina, under the previous Peronist government, drew down $5 billion, and that will remain outstanding. The Chinese showed very good faith effort after the announcement, or in conjunction with the IMF.
Oh, fuck me. Dude, spit it out. Stop trying to turd polish. The Chinese beat you to it. The Republicans were reticent to do this during Trump won. While that was happening, the Chinese moved into Argentina, backfunded it. Milei took over because of this oversized debt and viewed himself as like a little Trump down there, came in and transferred basically eliminated the Argentinian currency and made it the U.S. dollar. And your concern is they're going to pay off their debt with China in U.S. dollars and give China more access to U.S. currency to buy and sell other things around the world that are sanctioned. Just fucking say it. It was Trump's fault.
Announcement, so that is going to be rolled forward for a year.
But do you want them to get rid of that swap with Beijing?
Well, I think as this administration continues their stay the course on their economic policies, they should eventually have enough foreign exchange.
I agree. They should. Yeah, they should. As when's golf?
Inflows to be able to pay that off.
So less than 2 weeks ago, you and I were talking outside of the White House after what the president called Liberation Day.
Oh, yes. Liberation Day. We have it has its own theme song.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah. Now tell us about Liberation Day.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
No, tell us what the president said.
That was just bullshit, Joel.
Ah, yes, sorry, my bad.
You said you weren't part of the negotiations. Now you're leading them. What?
What happened? What the shit? You listen to that again, kids. God damn.
Day. And you said you weren't part of the negotiations. Now you're leading them. What's changed in these past?
Gee, I don't know, guys. Can you guys think of anything that's changed in the last couple of weeks that would give people, I don't know, a lack of a sense of security around the decision making and who's in charge of what the fuck is going on? Good God. This is
days.
No. What I said was I didn't construct the actual
tariff rates.
The tariff rates.
Right. So you wouldn't be in charge of the policy because that's where the rubber would hit the road and that's where the decision making would come from. Who did? Well, we have great economists at the White House that have come up with a magic formula that they saw in a movie about counting cards.
Always been part of the tariff policy. I had been focusing on tax. Maybe you want to talk about that later. That's going very well. And now...
No, it's not.
With the trade negotiations.
Yes, it was. You're right. It was Navarro, but that was who was whispering in Trump's head. Lutnick was the guy who was like coordinating the paperwork. Both of them are fucking morons.
I'm going to be part of that, and the president has hit a 90-day pause button, and we.
Really? Is it right next? Was he did he want a Diet Coke and he pushed the wrong fucking button? You know what? Here, I have a 90-day pause button too. Yeah. Yeah. Pause that, motherfucker.
Moving quickly with many of our most.
It sounds like Malkovich, you mean? I was not in charge. Fuck-faced. All right, sorry.
Important trading partners. So we had Vietnam in last week. We had Japanese in on Wednesday, South Korea next week. So it's going to move fast.
You mean all the countries we don't need to have tariffs with at all if we want electronics that are made by our partners and people we can trust? Dummy. That's not progress. The fact that you have to have trade negotiations with Japan and South Korea, this isn't fucking 1989, dum-dum.
And but the important thing for your viewers to know is we're setting up a process, and
yeah, we're setting up now. Now you're setting up a process. What would that process actually be? I don't know. We're still setting it up. We're setting up a process. Jesus.
Going to run that process. It's going to be orderly. And at
Sure it will.
the end of the day, especially for the most important.
Real quick. No. Stop. Ma'am, I don't mean to do your job for you. You seem capable and very smart. But you can't tell me you're going to come up with a plan and then a process, and that the process will be orderly, and not tell me what the fucking process is so I can gauge whether or not it can indeed be done in an orderly fashion or fucking not. Right? Don't tell me it's going to be an orderly process if you can't describe the process at all. We have an orderly process. What is it? Well, I'm going to juggle plates and made of crystal with a flan on top of each one of them without spilling a drop while racing up an icy hill in flip-flops. Like, that's okay. I could see how that would be, or you could make, there's an orderly version of that. Fuck you. Yeah, we've got concepts of a process.
Trading partners, the president's going to be involved.
So when it comes to the current negotiations this week, you're also sitting down again with the Spanish negotiating team, the Japanese negotiating team, and also the Spanish economy minister?
Well, the Spanish economics minister was just a prearranged meeting. He and I have never met. So that is not a trade sit down. The Japanese meeting is a trade negotiation.
The Japanese.
Yeah, but I'm sure it'll come up, won't it?
The minister recently said he's not going to rush to get a compromise and a negotiation. How quickly do you think you can see these deals come to fruition?
Well, again,
Again, you're assuming a deal actually exists. Because there's also a possibility of collapse or stalemate or another trade war with another country or simple, like, multiple impasses where a plan is never reached and one side just folds. The assumption that a deal can exist is some bullshit Trump keeps putting in the air.
There will be advantage to our allies, especially in a first mover advantage. Usually the first person who makes the deal gets the best deal.
Hey, fuckwad. You're not talking to two murder suspects seeing who rolls on the other one. They don't have to move at all. And okay, somebody's saying, oh, he's definitely in the closet. No. Bessent is gay. He's married. He's a married gay man with a partner and kids. And he used to work for George Soros. He's not closeted at all. Yeah. What's up, Harvey?
So who do you think will be first?
It's their choice.
Is there a handful of countries that you expect?
Hey, you do? All right. No. Also, this is going to drive me fucking bananas. All right, here we go. I don't want, like, the first person in to get the best deal. You would want the best deal to happen between the country that has the most crucial shit. Just if the people who sell us cranberries for cranberry juice are the first in the door and they manage to get the best trade deal because they suck up the fastest, and we're like, well, we may not have electronics, but we got fucking cranberries up the ass. How does that help? Right? You want the best deal with the people that we need the shit from the most. It's not a fucking race to suck up to Trump.
Have a deal before the 90 days is up?
Oh, I think there could be numerous countries. And look, it may not be the actual trade document, but we will.
I keep thinking, I don't know why, keep thinking it can't get worse. Like, at a certain point, he's just going to hit, like, a floor, and it's just, the stupid will stop and just kind of coast. It'll be like coasting on dumb. And then he
have an agreement in principle and be able to move forward from there.
So why wouldn't that agreement just stop their tariffs, and so therefore we're good? in good faith, they've come to the table. They've created a deal. You're gonna finalize it, but you know it's gonna be there within the 90 days. Are you going to put the tariffs on for a little while anyways until the deal is signed just to have a gun to their fucking head? In which case, what if you do that and that violates the agreement that you had leading up? Like, this is good, but you can't lay off this 10% on us during the time we're negotiating. We put that in the actual agreement. Then you can't. I mean, by the way, every country coming to this asshole and everybody else there has to put as part of your deal. While we're working on this deal, the president agrees not to impose those tariffs on us during the time we're trying to work out what our tariff structure will be. And if you do that, deal's off. Because you're just milking us for money, and then you know that we've got to, you're manipulating us, and you're extending the period where you can milk money out of our country until such time as the deal is signed.
Or 70 plus?
Look, I think it's going to depend, but we're going to move with all deliberate speed. And again, it's going to be a process. It's going to be USTR, who just has mountains of data that they've been collecting over the years. Because
oh, you mean the bureaucrats? You mean those fucking bureaucrats at USTR, the unelected people that design our trade? Make all the decisions, the unelected bureaucrats that have been there for decades at USTR. By the way, those people are totally fine. I don't have a problem with them in general. They're directed to go wherever the law tells them to go, but that's what they would call these people if they were outside. If they were out of office, that's what they would call these fuckers.
Anyway, the tariffs are the easiest part.
Jesus Christ.
So a country with high tariffs, you can just say, okay, this, get rid of it. It's the non-tariff trade barriers that are more insidious, more difficult to spot, and it's probably going to take a little longer to exercise those demons.
When you said you weren't part of the rates in that chart that the president held in the Rose Garden, is he taking a maximalist approach? Neil Dudder recently wrote that President Donald Trump has cracked a lot of eggs, and now Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, needs to make an omelet. Is that
off the floor, apparently?
View this situation right now?
I view not giving away negotiating secrets on worldwide television as the essence of negotiating.
Yeah, you know what the real essence of negotiating is, dickhead? Having actual leverage, having an actual strategy. We all know you can't give away what you want to do because you don't know. Because you don't know what the standard, you don't know what the baseline is, because Trump's all over the fucking map. You can't even begin a conversation with somebody that you can say, okay, yeah, we'll give you this, you give us that, we're cool, because Trump might fucking flip a coin or I don't know, drink the wrong Diet Coke and go, this smells like Argentina, and then shit starts all over again.
He talked about getting deals done quickly with partners to then confront China together. When you're in these negotiations with trading partners, are you looking for them to offer up something to combat Beijing?
Well, I think combat's an aggressive word, but look, I think now that we have the China tariffs in place, that they are going to want to have some protection from Chinese goods flooding their markets.
Oh, I see. That's our secondary strategy. Are they really? Their big fear is cheap Chinese goods. The ones that we've normally bought, they're now going to have them all up in their systems, and that is worrisome. Why? Because they're going to lose their manufacturing base? Who the fuck are you talking about? What manufacturing base?
China's business model is like from that Disney movie where
It is. It's a lot. Yeah. For Nemo, right?
The brooms are carrying the buckets. Like they're not going to stop manufacturing because
Fantasia. And no, it's not.
The U.S. has a tariff wall up, so those goods are going to go somewhere.
Where do you think they're going to dump?
Well, I think it depends on the good.
Let me guess, Argentina?
We have exemptions now, though, for electronics, so we still expect electronics to come into the United States with the smaller tariff rate, the fentanyl, 20%.
But you were asking where are they going to dump. I think it will depend on what is the good. Higher value-added manufacturing goods, likely in Europe, Canada, in the G7, and then kind of more of the baubles and knickknacks in the global South.
China's Commerce Ministry came out when the tariff rates were going above 100% and called it, quote, a joke. Has there been negotiations on any level between Beijing and Washington right now?
Well, look, it'll come from...
Yes. Fuck you. Well, fuck you. Well, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck me. Fuck you. I'm going to have your job, shithead. You asshole.
Top. President Trump, Chairman Xi have a very good relationship. And I wouldn't say that these are not a joke.
So Hal or someone can answer this. We'll go to court for the tariffs. Is this true? Yes. Yeah, the biggest, this will happen in the courts because this emergency ruling is the question. Does it qualify as an emergency? And they will have to justify its emergency in short order. And they'll use the idea that there's there's $1 trillion deficit worldwide for this, as opposed to China. And the idea is that just because we're buying more stuff than they're buying doesn't make it an emergency. It just means we have more money to buy stuff. And it's hard to make an argument that since our economy is doing better than everybody else's post-COVID, thanks Joe Biden, that we had more funds to buy more stuff. That's why.
These are big numbers. I think no one thinks they're sustainable, wants them to remain here, but it's far from a joke.
Well, they just say that the rate is so high, it's become a joke. Basically, does it just stop trade between Washington and Beijing altogether? Do you see a decoupling of these two economies?
Well, maybe the trade minister has a different sense of humor I do, but I don't see anything funny about it.
Okay, he does. God damn it. Hey, asshole, he doesn't mean joke as in a funny joke. He means joke as in ridiculous. As in Trump is a joke. Not he has a joke or he told a joke. That was it. That's his response. I don't think it's funny. That means you're a joke. That's how you become a punchline.
Do you see a decoupling, though, between Washington and Beijing?
There doesn't have to be. There could be. There's a big deal to be done at some point.
It's coming. Shit or get off the pot. But the only reason he can't say, yes, we're decoupling is because they have to admit to or move stuff to the surrounding countries until such time as we can reshort, and it's got to be a 10-year plan. But this dumb motherfucker doesn't even know if he's allowed to say that.
But look, what is different with China that is different in the history of trade that normally, if you go back to the big...
Yeah, normally in the history of humankind, there aren't a lot of cheap electronics. I mean, if we're talking, from... us leaving the trees till now.
Deals or the currency deals in the 80s, the Plaza Accord, the Louvre Accord, the Reagan auto deals. Our leading economic competitors were our military.
All right, you dumb motherfucker. This is gonna. Hold on. They always make me do this. They always make me fucking do this. Hold on. I'll be right there. Dipshit. You know why we didn't have a fucking trade deal then, like they're proposing now, and why it didn't matter in that regard? Like, why nobody thought of it? It's because this is what a fucking computer looked like. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my first computer. It is a Mac 128K computer that my dad got because his company was like, we'll get you a computer. What do you need? And he's like, well, I want my kid to be able to use it. So we like to do homework and stuff. And I did do programming on this, but it doesn't even have a hard drive. It can only do 128K of memory on anything. This is the early one. This isn't even the 512, which was a giant leap forward. This is why, dummy, before China started making computers, this was it. And it was awesome. But Jesus. Like, let me. Here's what we're talking about, stupid. This or this? Look at the fucking this, which has one jack on it.
Just the facts, ma'am.
Yeah, and then this. Look at the mouse plug on this thing, the serial port. Look at one of the greatest things ever, though. This guy right here, this thing. An audio port. Are you kidding me? So, little inside baseball. I guarantee Bessent doesn't know this, and it's a fucking shame. Do you know Apple got sued over the name Apple by Apple Records, by the Beatles company, right? They got sued. And let's see. I'm going to try. I should be able to bring it up. Yeah, hold on. So they got sued, and they had to agree to not make their stuff. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. That's the old one. Hold on. I'm gonna have to find it. So yeah, here we go. This will be it. There you go. That sound right there. Recognize that? That's an old Mac sound. Okay. And then okay. So that's a sound that was created for one of the Mac referential sounds, okay? And they were supposed to digitize some of those sounds, right? They were supposed to like make them digitally, but they could not record anything because it would be in violation of their use of the name. They got to be Apple computers, but you weren't allowed to record anything with your computer. Like this is early on. And one of the guys made a sound and recorded it as one of the noises that your computer would make if it had an error or you clicked the wrong thing. And that was one of the noises. There were a bunch of other ones, but that was one of them. Do you know what that one was called? I'll show you the name. Here you go. This is the sound right here. Some people thought it was a Japanese noise because of the nature of the word. But it's actually a fuck you to Apple Records. So sue me. They recorded that noise in violation of this weird thing that Apple said you can't use it to record anything. And they named it So Sue Me. It's one of my favorite little Apple Easter eggs, okay? We are definitely in the weeds. That was a major deal. Apple is our first $1 trillion company and is one of the most powerful and worthwhile companies that's ever existed in the history of America. It beats all of the Rockefeller companies and all that kind of stuff in reach and impact and all that kind of stuff. Anything from the Industrial Revolution, like it's enormous and still around. And its history is American history. There's a lot that's very important about it. How it almost died under Gil Amelio. Bill Gates gave it some money largely because he bailed it out because they were his R&D department. If it wasn't for Apple, Microsoft would have nothing to rip off to make Windows. So, but that was a part of the lawsuit about the name. So sue me. Isn't that awesome? So you're welcome. God damn, I'm nerdy. And this dickhead has no idea. But in the meantime, he also has no fucking idea how any of this shit works.
Allies. China is both our biggest economic competitor.
Somebody said, Hal, would you take $10 for that computer? Not on your fucking life. That is my Mac. And it boots up. I've been tempted. Now we're going to really get nerdy. I'm tempted to get a one off of eBay that doesn't work, take it out, put a new screen in it, and put one of my like little offloaded AI Raspberry Pi computers in it, and make it make it like a AI computer just in that case. Just saying. How old is she? 1986, 85, 85, something like that. 85, 86. Trump had a colonoscopy. It's pretty much a brain scan for him. Yeah, and he's got to go back in. Make your graphics on it now. Yeah. So yeah. You've been an Apple developer since '83. You never heard that story? Really? You do know also that if you use the old version of Final Cut, there's the hold on. Let's see. Final Cut. Show this here. Let's see. Let's see. Claire's the dog has been reborn in an iPhone keyboard. Move from the article. This is 2023. Yeah, I need to find it. You remember the dog cow from Apple, which was one of their early. They made a cow, and then it looked too much like a dog, so everybody called it the dog cow. So they just leaned into it to make it silly. It looks like this. It's meant to be a spotted dog and/or a cow, and then it started to look like, there's the Macworld, there you go, version of it. They called it the dog cow because nobody could decide what it was. There's a version of it that Claris, the dog cow, comes around and he says stuff. There are, I think, at least 3 quotes from me that it says from, like, I want to say 20, like, yeah. Oh, it's way earlier than that. It's 2002. That if you're in Final Cut and you bring it up, it says stuff, from developers over the years, and there are like 3 of my quotes that it says. I won't tell you what they are. I'll see if I get a screenshot of them. But if you ever get a chance, check it out. How are you going to talk about Mr. Garcia today? We talked about it earlier this morning, Elizabeth. But let me finish this, and then I'll have something to say on that.
Our biggest military rival. So that's going to require a special kind of formula.
Are you teasing out a Mar-a-Lago Accord that we should be paying attention for in the future?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, potentially getting all these trading partners together to discuss fair, balanced trade?
Well, we're doing that over the next 90 days.
Okay. So shifts in tariff policy.
That's a no.
Has had markets on edge. Even the president recently remarked that the bond market was, quote, queasy. Do you have a sense of who is dumping U.S. assets? Who's been dumping U.S. treasuries?
I don't think there's a dumping, and I think
there's a dumping.
On the tick data.
The dollar doesn't go down unless people are dumping shit.
Either today or Friday, that actually foreign ownerships picked up. We had 3 big auctions last week, and on the longer end auction, 10-year, 30-year, we saw increased foreign competition. So I actually think this is one of those occasional VAR shocks that you get in the trading community. I think a lot of people got very leveraged, maybe out over their skis, and then you combine that with some real money selling, and you get these moves.
So you don't think it's sovereigns, potentially it's hedge funds unwinding?
I have no evidence that it's sovereigns. And look, Anne-Marie, not you.
There he goes, using her name again. It's like his boardroom manipulation bullshit.
The nature.
I've never seen him do it with men, for the record. He only seems to say women's names like he thinks he read it in a book that, like, this is how you manipulate women, say their name. She is smiling after he said it. So, this idea of like man in power, gay or straight, if he says it, women go, oh, he said my name.
Journalism is to create a headline that 10 days ago, when 10-year yields hit 390, said, well, Secretary Bessent got what he wanted. He got 10-year yields down, but it's the wrong reason. Now, I forget what they hit on Friday, maybe 440 something.
We saw a 50 basis move last week in 10-year yield at the same time that the dollar was weakening nearly 3%. How do you simultaneously look at that situation? It feels like investors are dumping U.S. assets.
It's exactly what they were doing. And they were moving them to European assets because they thought the fucking market was going to crater. And they also knew that they would get a better rate locally because the Europeans were responding to these things. They couldn't, before they did reciprocal tariffs of their own or told Trump to go fuck himself, one of the things they could do was ease money going into their markets on the down low and go, hey, if you'd rather buy some of our bonds, we'll give you a better price on them. And long term, we're going to do some good stuff. But in the near term, America's going to be fucked by this dummy messing with the markets and wrecking stuff. It's probably safer over here. And they're more than likely right.
Look, I've learned that not to look at what happens over a week. Right? I, for better or worse, have lived through a lot of these things, and in trading, in one's personal trading history, it's the scar tissue that sticks with you the most.
Yeah. The whole idea would be try not to create scar tissue.
Exactly where I was standing in 1998 when the long-term capital, the debacle happened. That had nothing to do with anything other than a bunch of geniuses up in Greenwich who had too much leverage.
So you're not concerned at this moment about the U.S. dollar or the U.S. Treasury losing safe haven asset?
No, look,
we're still a global reserve currency.
We are still a global reserve currency. That we have a strong dollar policy.
As much as Trump's trying to fuck that up.
Dollar can go up and down. If you go and look back at President Trump's first term.
Yeah, I'm still getting over scar tissue too, chat room. This motherfucker, I like the scar tissue from 2008 sticks with you more than the whatever happened that week. Well, when do you think you got shivved, you dumb motherfucker?
I don't remember the exact number, but the dollar in 2017 went down, I can't remember, 7, 8, 9%. And then once the tax bill was done, took off for the remainder of his term.
Have you spoken to the Fed at all about contingency plans, though, if financial stability risks flare up?
Chair Powell and I have breakfast every week, and we discuss a wide range of things. And our staffs are always in contact. We have a markets room; they have a markets room. But and specifically, did we discuss some kind of a break the glass? I think we're a long way from that.
So when was the last time you guys spoke? You had breakfast last week?
We had breakfast last week, and it was an away game. I was over at the Fed.
And no concern so far from the Fed chair and what he saw in the Treasury market?
I think we would have heard from the Fed chair. I think we heard from Governor Collins.
He did. He spoke over the weekend.
Boston on Friday. We heard from Governor Weller today on his thoughts on what tariffs mean. So it seems like business as usual.
When it comes to the Fed chair, his term is up.
Yes, they are speaking at the normal times because they are scheduled. What they are saying, however,
May 2026. So we're almost 12 months out from that. When are you going to start to think about and have these discussions with the president about who should lead the Fed?
Well, we think about it all the time. I think when are we going to start the interviewing candidates? And that'll be sometime in the fall.
In the fall, so about 6 months lead time.
Yep.
The U.S. Supreme Court recently came out with a ruling that the executive branch, the president for now, could oust top officials at independent agencies. And that has some individuals in the market a little bit concerned about what this could mean for the independence of the Fed, which is really a cherished pillar of wanting to invest in America. Do you have any concern about potentially President Trump ousting Fed Chair Jay Powell or the independence of the Fed?
Well, and Marie, I've repeatedly said the Fed has two duties, and I believe that monetary policy is a jewel box that's got to be preserved, and then they have regulatory policies, and I think we can have more of a discussion because the Fed is one among three bank regulators. There's the Fed, controller of the currency, and the FDIC. So I think it's very easy.
So why don't you just talk to the other two and get your leverage there and leave the fucking Fed alone? Oh, right, because it doesn't actually work that way. And they work in conjunction with each other. They coordinate. They don't just go, I don't know, this week I think. Ugh, I'm getting tired of listening to him because it's fucking boring. I apologize, but like it's important. This is what this asshole talks like in interviews. And like I said, it sounds a lot more like Lutnick is becoming him. Now, did Elon Musk storm off of Kimmel's show? Is that what happened? Or did he just not? Or is that a lie? I've seen some stuff on there where people are saying like he kicked him off the show. He never did it. Things got ugly. Musk storms off of that. You need to leave. You can clap back at Elon Musk. Yeah.
Last night, Jimmy Kimmel Live didn't just air another late-night interview. It exploded into a fiery showdown that stunned both the studio and the internet. Elon Musk, the billionaire tech titan behind Tesla and...
Oh my God, like fucking AI videos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think they aired it, did they? Kimmel versus Musk, the interview that ended in silence. Whatever.
Jimmy Kimmel kicks Elon Musk.
Yeah, I keep seeing all these videos about it happening, but none of the videos of it happening, which is weird.
Jimmy tried one side and call it balanced, a bookshelf ground for misinformation.
All right, why are yeah? Is it on? Yeah, Snope says it's fake. That's what I think. Yeah. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Oh, can we do something kind of cool real quick before we jump to the next thing? And go to C-SPAN for, well, we'll end the show this way because I think it's good. We've been bored by the Trumpies enough. This is Blue Origin, the Amazon rocket, flying into space with an all-female space crew. Fuck you, Elon Musk. Katy Perry and Gayle King, Lauren Sanchez,
vector control built-in
and
test
Aisha
inward.
Bowe, Amanda
Vehicle is
Nguyen,
now
and
on
Carrie Ann
internal power.
Flynn.
So in a
All-female
moment here,
crew.
we'll see those, what they call the bit checks, the built-in test checks. As you mentioned, Kristen, inside the capsule, you know, as you said, this is like a bridled beast. This thing wants to take off.
Switch to onboard helium.
Here we go. Good luck and Godspeed, ladies. We're cheering you on from
Let's
planet
launch
Earth.
this
Thrust
rocket.
termination system is armed. Whew. T-minus 22 seconds and counting.
Why does it look like a penis? Because aerodynamics. And the fact that it has to spin,
T-minus
rotate,
10,
and then
9,
it has a capsule.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, command engine start, 2, 1, ignition.
It's like saying, why do all parachutes look like one side of a bra, I guess. There we go.
Liftoff. New Shepard has cleared the tower.
Venus thrusters on, you guys.
Flight.
Look at that little tiny rocket on the bottom of it, though, like the fuel. Is that
Speed climbing.
That's the connector. Like everything's so good these days, and they've got the resilience of the rockets, and the metals are so stable, and all that shit like are so strong now compared to the old ones that they don't need like 4 rockets so that they don't all break apart.
Max Q, maximum dynamic pressure. Mach 1, vehicle is supersonic.
Nice.
Engine back up to full throttle.
Supersonic, we have passed through
There's
Max
Oprah watching
Q.
Gale.
Maximum dynamic pressure. That's when the vehicle, the stresses between the atmosphere and the speed are at the maximum. So to punch through that is so important. You see the BE3 engines is firing beautifully. You see the stream of steam behind it. Those ladies right now are having an incredible view on their way to space. Passing through 80,000 feet, 1,300 miles per hour. They're going to peak at about 2,300 miles an hour over Mach 3 times the speed of sound. Shortly coming up, we'll have MECO, main engine cutoff. We will turn off the engine, but the 2 craft, the capsule and the booster, will continue their ascent to space.
Stand by, MECO.
Not to be an asshole, but if I was that rich, I would have a plank that I watched the launch on, and that would.
And there you saw. The main engine is turned off. We're now going to separate the capsule from the booster, and at that point, Kristen, that's when all 6 astronauts are going to start to feel the weightlessness, and shortly thereafter,
Katy Perry is on board.
we're going to let them unbuckle.
And that right there is the most critical milestone of this whole ascent. Oprah watching her best friend go to space.
Scary. Some scary shit. Now you know how astronauts feel all the time, especially post-Challenger, post-Apollo, Gemini. How old is Gail King? She's got to be late 60s at least, right?
And the 2 craft is separated. 328,000 feet, 100 kilometers. Welcome to space, ladies, or shall I say, astronauts.
Oh, the moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. Look. Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, my goddess!
It's like the real. It's like the Real Housewives of low Earth orbit.
And just in case it wasn't clear,
I was thinking 69.
those are the astronauts. Those are their voices that you're hearing.
And they
have
hit
apogee
drag brakes that deploy that will cut the speed of the rocket in half. And then in the last moments,
and there it is. We can see it from the stage.
There comes the rocket down. It's going to relight its engine. We're going to also see a sonic boom. We're going to hear that shortly here.
Yeah.
And remember, this is something that had never been done before until just a few years ago. Truly the stuff of science fiction that you're about to watch in just seconds.
There's the sonic boom. It's how long it takes to get them.
There we go.
And this guy. Pretty cool. Look at that trucker. And booster touchdown.
And booster touchdown. Welcome home, New Shepard.
And
Picture perfect landing right there.
Instead of naming them after stupid
right on
letters,
target.
like
See that dust kind of creates this
and like
dramatic
egomaniacal bullshit.
cloud that gets that reveals the beautiful rocket that has just taken these ladies up to space and back.
And I love the echo across the
No, I do
mountains.
not,
Is that what I was hearing there?
That's what
nice
you were
touch.
hearing. You heard the sonic boom, then you heard the engine relight, and
Can I say for the record, real quick, not to get in the way of what they're actually saying, but A, very impressive. B, can I just show you that now, like Musk is not the only one that does this. Here comes their capsule. It's going to fall like a stone until it gets within a certain range, and then there it is. Their parachute is starting to come out. You can see like the stringers, and there it goes. And then these are the little short ones, and then there's another one, and then the big one comes out, and because it's got to slow it down a little bit, and then the bigger ones come out, and then that'll bring them.
Inflate, slowing the capsule to a nice, smooth 10, 15 miles an hour. They are cruising back home.
3 good parachutes.
And I tell you, Kristen, from having gone through all of the simulations, I have gone through all of the training. They put you in the capsule that simulates all of this, including the sounds. And when you hear the motors of the parachutes pop out, that is the best moment in flight.
Because I know Blue Origin does everything they can to make this as safe as possible, and you'll have an impeccable safety record, but it still has to feel really good when you know that you're coming back to Earth with those parachutes fully deployed.
So part of this, and this is part of Operation Fuck Musk, is
and
that
you can see the capsule
while I
just
have
over our
issues
shoulder
with
here, going
Bezos
to be landing
in general,
north and east of the launch
they pale in
pad,
comparison
coming
to the
down
bullshit that
softly and beautifully.
Musk does.
500 feet.
And again, if Godzilla and Mega Godzilla are fighting, who kind of like you root for the other one until
and you will see a puff of smoke when it touches down. A puff of dust. That's normal.
A puff of dust, last milliseconds. Air cushion that will kick up the dust. It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
Yeah, it's kind of like a small car accident, like a little fender bender. Boom, like that. You land and they've got cushioned seats. Can't hear me?
Congratulations.
Sorry, is it too loud?
Welcome back to Earth.
Is that better? Can you hear me? Okay. Now, pretty cool. But one of the things I want to show you in kind of relation to that is that the more important part of what they're doing besides these things, which are great PR and really do show the proof of concept in what they're doing, is this stuff. Project Kuiper is, I mentioned this on the morning show a couple times, is Bezos's answer to Starlink. And for all of his WAPO bullshit, Kuiper will be more trustworthy for, say, Ukraine to use than Starlink. Because there is no, like, Bezos has more money than anybody, actual cash. And he doesn't need the support to do his business from Russia the way Elon Musk does, for example. Yeah. Kuiper Bell, I've been saying. Yeah, well, the Kuiper is named after that. And they are planning their first full-scale launch. I think they postponed it because of weather, but it's going to happen in the next, 2 months. They're doing 27 Kuiper satellites in low Earth orbit, which will be higher than the what you call it? What you do? The like Starlink satellites themselves, right? So hold on one second. Okay, this is right. Tink, tink. Okay, gotcha. All right, we're good. So I thought that was somebody at the door. So I am rooting for Kuiper to wipe Starlink out. And or basically just pay more taxes instead of this bullshit. Well, again, Lanzetta, this is for the benefit. There are a bunch of things that we need done in our American space program. And I would rather, because he's paying for all this shit. Unlike Musk, who's getting all this subsidiary for, it's like an 80-20 thing. Bezos getting 20% of the payment for this, doing favors for NASA and that kind of stuff, and mostly paying for it themselves. Whereas with Musk, it's the other way around. It's 80 tax dollars, 20%, right? So, the EU's publicly owned satellite internet for the win. Again, that's a great idea, but it is singular to there. It's not worldwide. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm like I said, it's sort of a rooting for Mechagodzilla to Godzilla over Mechagodzilla. They're still gonna, you've got to mitigate the damage and all that kind of stuff. But anything that kind of chops Musk financially off at the knees and starts eating into his bullshit myth, especially like the rocket landing, like it did, and those kind of things where it's becomes less special. Okay, is very helpful. I'm telling you, it eats into that. It's a good thing. Yeah, Elon's entire thing is paid for by taxpayers. At least this is based on the profit that Amazon, the people who use Amazon and pay for it get. So just say it. And then they are going to add it to Airbus. The airplanes are going to add onboard satellite internet from Kuiper on all of their airlines going forward, which is another big jump ahead of Starlink to like relative permanence. Yeah. Starlink is okay. You can separate the product from the person. For example, Henry Ford had factories in Nazi Germany. Yeah. But Henry Ford is dead and he stopped being a factor well after that. And if he had kept on, you could not separate him from the two. Starlink is not okay. He is actively engaged in this stuff and he is undermining Ukraine by cutting them off from the service intermittently so that they can't count on it. So no, it's very different. And there's a difference between Henry Ford, which made cars and they just went away and whatever you did with it was up to you. Whether you're Bonnie and Clyde or a police officer or a fucking farmer, it was none of his goddamn business. But like Musk can turn your car off digitally from his office. And he can also cut off your Starlink if he feels like it as well. That is wholly different than a product that once it leaves the showroom, the owner of the company has no contact with it. Does that make sense? I don't trust him with that. If you had to ask Henry Ford, if you're Jewish, you had to ask Henry Ford for your keys every morning. You're naive if you don't think Bezos would also do that. I know he won't. There's nothing in it for him doing it. There's more of a financial upside for him not to. My show schedule tomorrow, I'm not sure. I usually don't have one because I have to rest my voice and I've got 4 songs to sing. So that's the thing. His bread is butter, but Bezos's bread is buttered on the side of letting everybody use it as long as they're not sanctioned. I'm not shilling for him. It's a material fact. And I would rather Musk get fucked because right now he has no competition. Do you understand? There's nobody nipping at his heels. And so, again, listen to the analogy I'm making. Right? I understand the rooting for Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. In this instance, Mechagodzilla is worse because it never retreats, never goes back into the ocean and wants to be left alone. There's a huge difference. You don't have to, again, this is when people just, I think, yes, Bezos over Muskrat, lesser of two evils. That's the point I'm trying to make. And again, he's funding it himself. Nobody has to use Amazon. It is not a necessary feature. There are still stores out there. If you don't want to use his service, you can get around it. But Musk is in a position where no matter, even if, like, I don't drive a fucking Tesla, I'm never going to. I have no interest in using Starlink. I'm not going to. I'm not on X because fuck that guy. But I am paying with my tax dollars for that guy's businesses right now. We are not doing that in large part for any of Bezos's shit. And so therefore, in a lesser of two evils situation, very much the lesser of two evils is what is Bezos, Blue Origin, and all that stuff. Does that make sense? Do you at least get that? Because right now, even though we're like, fuck Musk, you could say fuck Bezos and just not use Amazon. You can go, fuck the Washington Post. I'm going to the Philadelphia Inquirer, which you can do. It's a great paper. Just saying. He does not have a monopoly. You can get a tremendous amount of goods from Etsy and eBay and Walmart online, which is actually bigger than Amazon as far as what it sells. You can order most things from stores via Postmates and delivery services. So he doesn't. He does not have a monopoly. He just has a giant company. It's ubiquitous. It's on your phone, but you don't have to use it. And there's a difference between, yes, Amazon's everywhere, and yes, it's convenient, and yes, it's cheap, and yes, it's easy to get sucked into using it. But that is wholly different from, even if I don't want to use it, my tax dollars are paying for it. And that's what Musk has right now. And fuck that guy. Bezos is not in the government. Bezos is not getting these kind of massive subsidiaries. And you can hate his business model, but you don't have to use it. Even if you don't want to use Musk's, you're being forced to by his proximity to Trump. Do you understand? Does that make sense? And so, in these circumstances, Musk in a couple of places, because of his support from Trump and the federal government loans and guarantees that he's gotten and the contracts that he has, he's gotten ahead of everyone else. And the only person nipping at his heels is Jeff Bezos. And I am rooting for Jeff Bezos in this circumstance. Mainly for how he can, like, cook off some of this bullshit. And it's optional. You're rooting. How am I rooting for company towns? What? Okay. Guys, you do realize that in these circumstances, you ever watch UFC and you're like, I hate UFC, and both of these guys are assholes, but one of them's a bigger asshole, so you hope he gets his ass kicked? Or a football team where both of them are terrible, but Michael Vick's on one team and the other team's a dick, but you know the quarterback's a dick, but you want Michael Vick's team to lose because he dogfights? Do you understand that concept? Okay, that's as deep as this goes. You get me? You guys with me on this? Chat room? I'll bring you guys into it. The devil you know or the devil you hate. Thank you. I'm rooting for myself as well. He did not Nazi salute. Yes, he did. Yes, he fucking did. Of course he did. He thought he could get away with it by doing it off to the side. Please, simmer down. He believes fast racehorses give you fast racehorses, and the world is full of useless eaters, and that America, Canada, Greenland, and Central America down to the Panama Canal need to become one technocracy run by engineers and elites who are educated. And they are all uniformly white. Of course he gave a Nazi salute. The fuck out of here. Even he was espousing Nazi bullshit even before he did it. He didn't even, again, I got news for you. There are a lot of white supremacists and Nazis out there who have never done a Nazi salute in public. Doesn't make them less of a Nazi. Right? They're like, whatever, Nick Cannon doesn't stand on a fucking street corner yelling at Jews as part of the, black Hebrew Israelites, doesn't make him any more of a bigot towards them. And if one day he did, and he was like, well, he only stood there for a second. Please. We wasn't there all day. The fuck out of here. No. How could you not see it? Exactly. What kind of being for yeah. Well, that's the other thing too, is that like here's the thing. Putting the whole Nazi thing aside, it's a myth that he's smart. It's a myth that he's a fantastic businessman. He surrounded himself with, because he had money, people who were gonna punch a hole in sort of the early .com bubble thing. And he did a relatively shotgun approach on 6 or 7 different investments, and 3 of them took off because they were big chunks of money. But it wasn't because he did the fucking coding. There's like these pictures of him in a fucking dorm room, like, and they put it right next to like Steve Jobs in a fucking garage. Like it's the same thing, and it isn't. He didn't code PayPal, he invested in it. He didn't build Tesla. 2 other guys did, and he bought into the company. It's like people who think Trump's a great businessman because Trump steaks, Trump water, Trump vodka, Trump University, Trump Airlines, Trump football, and Trump fucking casinos. And The Apprentice, where he pretended to be a businessman on a goddamn game show. Remember how we were all like, when Trump did January 6th and Mike Pence did the right thing? I don't agree with Mike Pence. I would never vote for him for president. I don't like him as a human being. I think he's fucking weird. But I would root for him in a circumstance where things matter over Trump, right? If Trump, if they're like, well, if Trump gets impeached, it'll be Mike Pence, I'd be fucking A right, it is. I would prefer that. It wouldn't be optimal. It wouldn't be who I would vote for, but it sure would beat the fuck out of that guy being in office. Same thing with Bezos and Musk. Yeah. Elon is a total nerd. I take offense at that. I'm a total nerd. Elon is a fucking poser. Yes, and Bezos did work. Dude started an online bookstore, for God's sake. Himself. Like, read their origin stories. One of them actually did fucking something. And he's not on the fucking public tit the way Musk is. It does matter. There is a difference. Right. Let's see. Poser and a dork. Yeah, I would say dweeb and geek fit him very well. I was agreeing with you. I would vote for Pence over Trump. That's hard for me to say because I'm gay and Pence is a massive bigot. Right. But you know also that he would shy away from doing the worst of it because he's not who Trump is. They're different. And these are adult decisions you have to make in an adult world where shit matters. Where you're like, I don't know, fuck it. Like, if that's your answer, then you might as well just stay in fucking middle school. Right? So I'm for Blue Origin. I'm going to tout the shit out of that, partly because it's cool and it's pro NASA and it's pro space, which I will always be. And is Garcia dead? No. Not insofar as I know. I don't think so. There's no evidence that he is. And at the same time, it irritates Trump and Musk, which is an even better one. Right? It's like rooting for somebody at a game just because you know it irritates the asshole who's dating your sister, because he's for the other team. So you just root for the team, even though you're going to give a shit one way or another. Like, I kind of like football, but we're watching and it's kind of cool. But I'm going to root for them because it makes him mad. That's reason enough. Yeah, pro NASA. I think NASA is a worthwhile endeavor. Yeah, Trump is deaf. Yes, annoy Musk. Very important skill to have. And the other thing is get off fucking X. Like, I don't know what the hell people are doing over there. So, yeah. I honestly don't know if that ends up working. Hold on, let me open this just to make sure. It's always hard. Whoops. Open up the wrong thing. Just in case. Oh, it's popped out. I see. Doop. Uh-oh. Kidney.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart.
Oh my God. Sorry about that.
It's fun to be Let's party like we're moving
I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
You're watching Housebox, Megaworldwide, and we're glad you're along for the ride. Everyday Hal is here by your side. So please, would you like and subscribe? You're watching Housebox, Megaworldwide, and we're glad you're along for the ride. Everyday Hal is here by your side.
That was just bullshit,
So
Joel.
please, would you like and subscribe?
Oh, hello there!
I guess I do like black people. It just took a white one to prove it to me.
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother? Why are you dressed like that? I love Leo.
We need hell, I need I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your scent. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Dr. Evil and his
Beef jerky?
No, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind. Something terrible.
Whoa.
I'm your huckleberry.
Knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
Oh, hello there!
Okay, you know, you guys are privy to all the new shit, so, you know, but hey, that's what you pay me for.
Now, in the name of Zeus's butthole, to get out of yourself.
The kidney has a very special place in the heart. When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy, they had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports, it's called baseball in particular.
Five egg.
The biggest loser is the state with the shortest dick. I like wood. Deeper and longer.
Wow. What?
Groovy.
Leon's getting larger.